I stand frozen at the entrance to the grand ballroom, my champagne dress catching the late afternoon light. Staring at the family table I arranged myself this morning. White tablecloths float over 30 round tables, each crowned with pink peonies I spent 3 hours perfecting. But my eyes lock onto one table, the family table with its special chargers and extra centerpiece. Mom sits in her chair, diamond bracelet catching the light as she adjusts her pearl necklace. Dad beside her, already loosening his tie. Jessica and her husband lean together, sharing some private joke. Mark and his wife claim their spots with easy familiarity. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all settling into their designated places like pieces of a puzzle I've memorized by heart. Every seat filled. Every place card perfectly positioned. Every detail exactly as I calculated when I made the seating chart 3 weeks ago, revised it 12 times, and finalized it last Monday. But something's wrong. I remember my seating chart clearly. I wrote my own name in my own handwriting, Emily, family table, right side of Dad. Yet now, my seat simply doesn't exist. Wait, where's Emily's seat? My cousin Linda tilts her head. Oh, she said she'd prefer the vendor table. Mom's voice floats from across the room. Light and confident. As a professional, I'm sure she'll be more comfortable there. Linda looks confused but quickly gets pulled into conversation. As I step backward, the crystal vase slips in my hands. Away from the table that holds everyone I love, everyone except me. My fingers catch it before it crashes, but not before the sharp edge bites into my thumb. I watch a tiny bead of blood well up, bright against my skin. Just one more imperfection to add to my collection. The chipped polish on my nails, the coffee stain on my sleeve, the tension headache pulsing behind my eyes. Even the champagne dress I bought specially for tonight feels out of place in this moment. I dress to shine, yet here I am, hidden in the shadows. Perfect. I whisper the word like a prayer. 6 hours earlier, when I was walking around this grand ballroom making final adjustments, I still had hope. How did it come to this? It started with, just help out a little. When I was 10, Thanksgiving when Mom was sick with the flu. Emily's so good at cooking. They praised, and I felt proud. At 14, working reception at Dad's company party. Such a reliable daughter, he introduced me with pride. At some point, leave it to Emily, she'll handle it, became the family motto. Because I'm the eldest daughter. Because I'm responsible. And most of all, because I never say no. My phone rings. Emily, Mom's voice. The caterer needs the final head count. And you did remember your father's cousin from Phoenix, right? Yes, Mom. Everything's handled. I rub my temples, watching a waiter wheel in the gift table. He positions it exactly where I marked with blue tape this morning. 78 guests, and Robert's meal is specially marked. What would we do without you? The words should warm me, but they land like stones in my stomach. Oh, and could you check if... Actually, Mom, the words slip out before I can stop them. I was thinking maybe I could just attend as a guest this time. A pause, then a light laugh that makes my throat tight. Oh, honey, who would pull this off if not you? You know how these things go. Yes, I do. I see 16-year-old me staying up until 3 a.m. finishing Mom's surprise 40th birthday decorations, while Jessica and Mark slept. The monthly drives home from college to help Dad organize the family business paperwork. Last year, taking 2 weeks of unpaid leave to salvage Mark's wedding when his planner quit. Emily will handle it, like she always does. Mom's voice sounds distant. You're right. I'll handle it. The phone buzzes again as soon as I hang up. Jessica, we'd be lost without you. Just do what you always do. You're so good at it. Mark's voicemail follows. You know I just mess it up. Besides, Seattle's too far. You've got this, right? I walk to the ladies' room, needing a moment just to breathe. Standing in front of the mirror, I remember this morning. When I came to the venue for final checks, the seating chart was exactly as I created it. Emily, family table, right side of Dad. But Mom said, "Oh, that's right," picking up one place card. Emily should be at the vendor table after all. She can respond quickly if any adjustments are needed. I tried to protest, but seeing Mom's confident expression, I said yes as always. When I slip on the dress, I look at my reflection in the mirror. The color warms my skin, the cut elegant but understated. For once, I look like someone who belongs at the party, not behind the scenes. Will they even see me tonight? I whisper to my reflection. She doesn't answer. The next few hours blur into a checklist of final details. Check the sound system, confirm timing with the MC, review the slideshow one last time. My phone never stops buzzing. When the first guests arrive, everything is perfect. Every detail exactly as Mom and Dad dreamed. I stand back watching family fill the room with laughter and warmth. Emily, my cousin Rachel touches my arm. "I think they seated you at the vendor table near the MC. You know, closer to logistics." The words hit like ice water. What? I walk to the family table. The one I arranged myself, with the special chargers and extra centerpiece. Place cards show names for Mom, Dad, Jessica, Mark, their spouses, aunts, uncles, cousins. But not mine. "Oh, sweetie." Mom appears beside me, patting my arm. Her diamond bracelet catches the light. "We thought you'd be more comfortable with the team. Didn't want to drag you into formalities." She pats my arm, already turning toward Jessica, who's waving from across the room. "Besides, you're always saying you need to stay on top of things." The room spins slightly. The buzz of conversation, the clink of glasses, the soft music from the string quartet, it all blurs into white noise. I look down at my champagne dress, at my carefully styled hair, at the tiny cut on my thumb that hasn't quite stopped bleeding. For 25 years, I've made sure everyone in my family shines. I never realized that meant I had disappeared. My legs shake as I approach Mom near the string quartet. The music flows around us, a waltz Mark chose for the first dance. Actually, the one I selected. "Could I just squeeze in here?" My voice catches. I gesture to the family table where aunts, uncles, and cousins crowd together, shoulders touching as they lean in to share stories. Mom adjusts her pearl necklace, the one Dad gave her on their 20th anniversary. "Oh, sweetie, you'll be much more comfortable at the vendor table. That way you can coordinate with the MC about timing." She pats my arm, already turning toward Jessica. "Besides, you're always saying you need to stay on top of things." The MC taps his microphone and feedback pierces through the quartet's music. "Ladies and gentlemen, what a beautiful evening. Before we begin the celebrations, let's give a big hand to the incredible planning team that made this evening possible." I hold my breath, waiting for my name. The wonderful staff here at the Riverside Hotel, our outstanding caterers, and the talented musicians. The applause washes over me like cold water. I clutch my champagne glass tighter, knuckles white against the crystal stem. The slideshow starts. Images flow across the screen. Dad teaching Mark to ride a bike. Mom and Jessica making Christmas cookies. Family vacations at Lake Tahoe. Each photo I spent weeks selecting, carefully arranging into a story of 25 years of love. But as the pictures scroll past, my throat tightens. Out of 60 photographs, I appear in exactly 2. The first, half hidden behind a Christmas tree. The second, a blur of motion as I set up Mom's birthday cake. "Mark, this is incredible." Uncle Pete claps my brother on the shoulder. "You really outdid yourself with this presentation." Mark grins, accepting the praise. "Thanks. Just wanted to do something special for Mom and Dad." I slip between clusters of guests, their voices blending together. Such thoughtful children, always ready to help. "You must be so proud of what you've raised." A warm hand touches my elbow. Aunt Margaret stands beside me, her eyes soft behind her glasses. She leans close, voice low. "You look beautiful tonight, Emily. That dress is stunning on you." Before I can respond, Mom calls everyone together for photos. Emily, you take them. You have such an eye for these things. The camera feels heavy in my hands. Through the viewfinder, I watch my family arrange themselves. Mom and Dad in the center, Jessica and Mark flanking them with their spouses, aunts and uncles filling in the edges. A perfect family portrait. Wait, Dad frowns, looking around. Was it Jessica or Emily who put all this together? One of the girls anyway. The camera slips slightly in my grip. Jessica laughs, high and bright. Dad, Emily's been planning this for months. You know how she is about details. Right, he nods, already turning back to pose. Emily, make sure you get everyone in frame. The photos are done, and I step back. My phone buzzes. A text from Rachel, my best friend since 3rd grade. You look beautiful. Are you actually enjoying yourself for once? The words blur on the screen. I blink hard, thumb hovering over the keyboard. Finally, I open the family group chat instead. Everything's running smoothly. I'll step out early to recharge. Love you all. The valet brings my car around. I sit behind the wheel, hands trembling as I pull up the Alaska Airlines website. The purchase button glows in the darkness of my car. Outside, through the ballroom windows, I can see my family laughing, dancing, celebrating. They don't notice when I drive away. 20 minutes later at home, I pull my passport from the drawer where it sat unused for 5 years. My suitcase lies open on the bed, half packed with warm sweaters and thermal layers. The journal Mom gave me last Christmas still blank, waiting for words. The family group chat stays silent. I stand at my window watching the city lights flicker like distant stars. From somewhere deep inside, a truth rises that I've spent my whole life trying not to hear. Sometimes the loudest statement is an empty chair. 2 hours later, my coat bunches under my head, making a lumpy pillow against the airport terminal's plastic seat. The flight to Anchorage boards in 3 hours. My phone screen glows in the pre-dawn darkness. 47 notifications from the family group chat. I click into Instagram instead, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Sometimes you have to go where no one expects anything from you. The words flow out before I can second-guess them. My thumb hovers over the post button. The old Emily would never. The old Emily would already be home, sorting through party cleanup details, answering endless questions about leftover cake and rental returns. I press post and open my phone settings to turn off notifications from the family chat. The silence fills my chest like the first breath after swimming underwater too long. Later that evening, lights break over the horizon as our plane lifts off, painting the clouds in shades of pearl and rose gold. I press my forehead against the cold window, watching Seattle disappear beneath us. Somewhere down there, my family wakes to find my empty apartment, my neatly written note. Taking some time. I'll call when I'm ready. The next morning, the Anchorage landscape hits me like a reset button. We land to white stretching in every direction, broken only by dark forests and jagged mountains. No to-do lists, no expectations, no careful smiles, and of course I can handle that. The tour van bumps along icy roads toward my lodging, carrying me and 6 other travelers seeking winter solitude. First time in Alaska, I turn to find kind eyes watching me from the seat across the aisle. Silver hair, artist's hands stained with charcoal, a sketchbook balanced on her knee. First time traveling alone, I admit. She nods, understanding filling her face. I started traveling solo after my Henry passed. It gets easier. A smile touches her eyes. Then it gets wonderful. An hour later, my cabin door closes behind me with a soft click. Silence wraps around me like a blanket. No phone buzzing, no voices calling my name, no lists of needs to fulfill. The panic rises fast and hard, squeezing my chest. My hands shake as I unpack my small bag, hanging up the clothes I grabbed without thinking. The silence screams in my ears. I grab my phone, muscle memory reaching for the family chat. The notifications are still off. No one has tried to call. No private messages asking where I am. My new journal lies on the bed, leather cover still stiff and uncreased. The first words spill onto the blank page. Did I disappear, or was I never really there? I showered, then went to explore the surroundings, and came back for dinner later that day to encounter new people. My new friends. The lodge's common room glows with firelight. Sarah, the nurse from Minneapolis, ladles salmon stew into ceramic bowls while telling us about her own burnout journey. 6 years in the ICU, she says, passing me a steaming bowl. One day, I walked out mid-shift, bought a ticket to Alaska that night. Her laugh holds no apology. Sometimes the only way to stop drowning is to let go of the rope they're using to pull you under. Mike, the Montana hiker with wild gray hair and weathered skin, teaches me to build a fire in the stone hearth. My first attempt collapses into smoke. The second catches, flames dancing between the logs. Look at that, he says, pride warming his voice. You've got the touch. Margaret, the silver-haired artist, sets up her easel by the window. Her charcoal moves in swift strokes across the paper as I stare into the fire. You have such presence when you think no one's watching, she murmurs. I turn to find my own profile taking shape on her page. Head lifted, firelight catching the angles of my face. The woman in the drawing looks nothing like the Emily who fades into the background of family photos. A laugh bubbles up from somewhere deep inside me, surprising us both. It sounds nothing like my careful chuckle at family gatherings. This laugh belongs to someone else entirely. The Northern Lights tour leaves at midnight. We strap on snowshoes, following our guide into the silent forest. Snow crunches beneath our feet. The air bites at our faces, sharp and clean. Look up, our guide whispers. The sky explodes into ribbons of green and violet, dancing across the stars. My breath catches. The other travelers gasp and point, but I stand motionless, neck craned back, watching the lights paint the darkness. You know what I love about the aurora? Our guide's voice carries quiet in the crystal air. It doesn't demand attention. It just shows up, and people travel across the world to see it. The tears freeze on my cheeks. I reach up to brush them away, but they've already turned to diamonds in the starlight. Back in my cabin later that night, I pull out my journal. The words flow faster now, sure and steady. Maybe I was never meant to serve. Maybe I was meant to shine. Green light dances outside my window, casting shadows across the page. For the first time in my life, I'm not arranging anyone else's view of them. I'm not making sure everyone has the right angle, the perfect photo opportunity, the best experience. I'm just watching them shine. And somehow, impossibly, that feels like enough. My phone lights up for the first time in 3 days. From my cabin window seat, watching the Alaskan wilderness stretch white and endless beyond the glass, I see the screen fill with notifications cascading like dominoes. Mom's voicemail comes first. Emily, where were you? You left without saying anything. Call me back immediately. Mark's text follows. You really scared Mom. Could have told us you were leaving. Jessica chimes in with 4 rapid messages. Did you schedule the florist for Mom's garden club next week? Emily, this isn't funny. Mom's freaking out about who's going to coordinate Christmas. At least tell us where you are. I press my forehead against the cold window, watching my breath fog the glass. 3 days of silence, and their first concerns are about logistics. The garden club, Christmas coordination. The familiar weight settles in my chest, but this time I let it pass through me like pale winter sunlight. My fingers hover over the keyboard before I type. Family meeting, FaceTime. Tomorrow 7 p.m. your time. Their responses flood in instantly. Mom wants to talk now. Jessica has a PTA meeting. Mark mentions the time difference from Seattle. 7 p.m. Eastern. Non-negotiable. The next evening, I position my laptop carefully. The window behind me frames snow-covered peaks, and the setting sun paints the sky in shades of rose and amber. I've chosen this backdrop deliberately, a visual reminder that I'm not in their world anymore. Their faces pop up one by one, Mom in her reading glasses, Dad still in his work shirt, Jessica in her kitchen, Mark with Seattle's skyline visible through floor-to-ceiling windows. Their expressions shift from relief to confusion as they take in my location. Emily, Mom leans closer to her screen. Where are you? Alaska. The word falls into the silence like a stone into still water. I needed distance. Alaska? Mark's eyebrows shoot up. What about your job? This isn't sane suddenly. I took leave. My voice remained steady. I said something at the anniversary party, but you weren't listening. What do you mean you said something? Jessica leans forward. We're worried about you. Mom's been crying, and is she crying because I disappeared? Or because there are things that can't get done without me? My family's faces freeze through the screen. The answer lies in the silence. 3 days later, I set up another video call. This time, there's something different in their faces. Instead of defensive expressions, I see confusion and something else. Dad speaks first. Emily, we've been talking about what you said. Mom's eyes are red and swollen. I remembered what you said at the anniversary party. You really wanted to attend as a guest. But we didn't listen, Jessica says in a small voice. Mark's words come slowly. He takes a breath. Yesterday, my son asked me, why can't Daddy do everything like Aunt Emily? That's when I first realized how much we've been depending on you. Jessica's voice trembles. Me too. When my daughter said about Mom's garden club, why don't you ask Aunt Emily? She chokes on the words. Even a 7-year-old noticed our dependence. I never stopped to think what it was costing you. The sun has nearly set behind me. Soon stars will emerge, and if I'm lucky, the aurora will paint the sky in ribbons of light. My family's faces glow blue in their separate screens, waiting for my response. I'm extending my stay in Alaska, but Christmas, Mom starts, will happen without my organizing it. I touch my screen gently, an echo of the way I used to squeeze her hand. You'll figure it out. You have to. When will you come home? Dad asks. I look out at the deepening twilight. The scariest part wasn't leaving. It was realizing I should have done it sooner. I'll come home when I'm ready. When I'm sure you see me, really see me, and not just the roles I've played. The silence that follows holds more truth than any words could carry. In 5 separate frames, a family confronts the shape of their daughter's absence, and a daughter learns the power of her own voice. Behind me, the first stars begin to shine. The messages start arriving at dawn. My phone vibrates against the wooden nightstand, each buzz like a small accusation. Mom's crying again. She burned the casserole for the church potluck. Jessica's text glows in the darkness. You know, she always relied on your timing. I watch the sun rise over the Alaskan mountains through my cabin window, painting the snow in shades of rose gold. My fingers hover over the keyboard, ready with the automatic response. The offer to call Mom to walk her through recipe timing to fix everything. Instead, I set the phone face down. The next message comes from Mark during my morning walk along the frozen shoreline. Quarterly business review is next week. Dad's completely lost without your spreadsheets. A pause then. Come on, Em, you've made your point. Have I? The question follows me as I crunch through fresh snow, my breath clouding in the crisp air. Back in my cabin, I pull out my journal. No longer meticulous to-do lists and family schedules, but pages filled with watercolor sketches of the aurora, notes about the play of light on ice, observations of the wild quiet that fills spaces where obligations used to live. Sometimes healing looks like disappointing people, I write. The words don't shake my hand anymore. My art teacher, Martha, calls me over during afternoon class the next day. Your brush strokes are bolder today, she says, studying my attempt to capture last night's aurora. The painting won't win awards. The colors bleed together in places. The composition lacks technical skill. But the joy of creation radiates from every imperfect line. I used to think I couldn't take up space, I tell her, adding another streak of green to the sky. even on canvas. The afternoon light slants through the studio windows when my boss calls. Emily, the conference planning committee needs you. We're absolutely swamped with the annual meeting coming up. 5 years of organizing company events flash through my mind. Late nights, missed weekends, endless crisis management. My answer surprises us both. I'll be taking my full vacation time this year. Susan from marketing showed interest in event planning. She might appreciate the opportunity. Silence crackles across the connection. Then, I didn't realize you were serious about stepping back. Neither did I. The truth of it warms me like sunlight. Later, I find myself on the gallery website, cursor hovering over the application for their summer photography workshop. The old voice whispers, "Who do you think you are? What makes you special enough to create instead of serve?" I fill out the application. My hands don't shake. Mom's FaceTime call comes as I'm watching the sunset paint the mountains purple. Her face fills my screen, lined with worry that makes my stomach clench. Things are falling apart here, Emily. The foundation's annual gala is in shambles. Your father's office is a disaster. Mark's kids miss their aunt. We need you to come back. The familiar guilt rises like bile, but behind it something else grows stronger. The certainty that came with the first glimpse of aurora lights dancing across an endless sky. The understanding that some patterns must break to be reborn. That's exactly why I can't come back yet. My voice stays gentle but firm. The mountain stands silent witness behind me. You need to learn who you are without me managing everything. And I need to learn who I am without managing everyone. But we're family. Mom's voice cracks. Families help each other. Yes, they do. I touch the screen where her cheek would be. But help shouldn't cost someone their soul. Dad appears behind her, his reading glasses crooked as always. But something shifts in his expression as he studies me through the screen and really sees me, maybe for the first time. We did this, he says quietly. Didn't we? We made you responsible for our happiness. The admission hangs between us like the northern lights, beautiful and terrible in its clarity. I'm not coming back to fix everything, I say. But I will come back to build something new, when we're all ready. After we hang up, I stand at my window watching stars pierce the darkening sky. My reflection overlaps their light, a woman I'm just beginning to recognize, her edges no longer blurred by everyone else's needs. In my journal I write, the hardest part about finding your voice isn't learning to speak. It's learning to stop apologizing for having something to say. Green and violet light flames across the night. I take out my camera, adjusting the settings with growing confidence. Not perfect, not servile, just present. Claiming my space under these lights. My phone buzzes one last time. A text from Jessica. I signed up for a cooking class. I thought it was time I learned to read a recipe without calling you. I miss you, but I'm starting to understand. I smile, letting the message sit unanswered for now. Outside my window, the lights continue their eternal dance. Asking nothing, demanding nothing, simply being. Tomorrow, I'll try to paint them again. The day after, maybe I'll write about them. Or maybe I'll just watch, learning from their radiance how to illuminate my own life. The night deepens. I remain awake, watchful, finally author of my own story. 3 weeks passed, and now it was time to return home. The front door of my apartment clicks shut behind me. 3 weeks in Alaska changed more than just my perspective. It rearranged my soul. My suitcase stands by the door, but I leave it there, walking through rooms that suddenly feel foreign. Everything looks exactly as I left it, yet nothing feels the same. The filing cabinet stuffed with family birthday lists and event timelines. The drawer of emergency supplies for last-minute celebrations. The calendar marked with everyone's appointments but my own. Time to redecorate, I whisper, my voice stronger than it used to be. I spend the next hour moving furniture. The heavy oak desk that anchored my role as family secretary now faces the window instead of the wall. Sunlight streams across its surface, warming the wood. In its place, I hang the photograph I took under the aurora borealis, streaks of green and violet dancing across a star-filled sky. The frame cost more than I'd usually spend, but watching the northern lights paint themselves across my wall feels worth every penny. My phone buzzes. 3 separate texts about the upcoming charity auction mom chairs every spring. I delete them without responding. The family group chat pings with my cousin's baby shower plans. Another delete. My brother needs help coordinating dad's retirement party. No, I say aloud to the empty room. The word feels clean and bright on my tongue. Not this time. The afternoon mail brings a postcard. Mom's familiar handwriting covers both sides, cramped, hurried scrawl. Emily, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You deserved better treatment. I finally understand now. What a terrible mother I was, but that's no excuse. Come home when you're ready. Not as our help, but as our daughter. I love you. Mom. P.S. I burned a cake yesterday but didn't call you. Small step, but still. My fingers trace the edges of the card. The words sink in slowly, like snow melting into soil. She's trying. They all are. Sunday dinner looms like a test. I drive to my parents' house empty-handed. No casserole, no dessert, no clipboard of conversation topics to keep things running smoothly. Just me, wearing a soft green sweater and carrying nothing but my car keys. Mark opens the door. His eyes drop to my empty hands, then back to my face. Hey, Em, he steps aside, then hovers awkwardly. I'm supposed to be setting the table. Want to show me how? He catches himself. Never mind. I'll figure it out. The sounds from the kitchen are different tonight. Pots clang. Something smells like it's burning. My sister's kids race past with handfuls of silverware, giggling as they arrange play settings with more enthusiasm than accuracy. Mom appears in the doorway, flowers streaked across her cheek. Emily, you're early. She wipes her hands on her apron, starts to reach for me, then pulls back. I mean, you're right on time. Just on time. I smile. Need help? No. The word bursts from her like a firecracker. I mean, yes, but no. Jessica's kids are handling dessert. We're learning. It's messy, but we're learning. The table looks nothing like my perfectly arranged settings of the past. Forks point different directions. The napkins are unfolded. Someone put the water glasses on the left. But when we sit down, the food is hot. The conversation flows. And for the first time in years, I can focus on chewing instead of orchestrating. Dad stands, lifting his glass. The light catches his wedding ring, the same one I polished every anniversary until it sparkled. To Emily, he says, voice rough. Not for what she does, but for who she is. The words land like petals, soft, weightless, real. After dinner, Mom catches me in the hallway. Would you? She twists her fingers together. The holiday party, would you teach me? Not do it. Just show me how. I want to learn. I study her face. The new lines around her eyes. The way she holds herself like she's afraid of taking up too much space. Just like I used to. Yes, I tell her. I'll teach you. But you do the work. She nods, relief softening her shoulders. In the living room, Mark struggles with the coffee maker. How does this thing work again? He looks puzzled. Jessica's kids stack dishes with exaggerated care. And my father, a bit bewildered but trying, wipes the counter. It's not perfect. Mark still doesn't know how to make coffee. Mom is confused about the menu. But they're trying. And that's enough. That night, I drive to the outskirts of town where the city lights fade. The spring sky spreads above me, a whisper of green dancing at the edges, a local version of the aurora. I set up my camera, frame the shot, and step into it. The timer clicks. In the photo, half my face glows green and violet like an echo of Alaskan sky. I post it online with words that feel like truth. Your worth isn't determined by what you can do for others. My phone lights up with notifications. Not from family this time, but from strangers sharing their own stories of invisibility and emergence. A woman who left her law firm after 30 years of making coffee. A man who stopped coaching his son's team to finally write his novel. A teacher who learned to say no to unpaid overtime. I put my phone in my lap and pick up the course catalog from the local art center. My first painting class starts Tuesday. Next month, I interview for a photography expedition to Iceland. My calendar fills with my own dreams instead of other people's needs. Light shimmers in my car window, reflected in the glass as I drive back to my apartment. I watch it dance, remembering what the guide in Alaska told me. The aurora doesn't demand attention. It just shows up, and people travel across the world to see it. I touch the window glass, my fingerprint leaving a mark on the pane. Some journeys cross oceans. Others cross the boundaries we build inside ourselves. Both kinds change you forever. Looking in my rearview mirror, I see a face who finally owns her light. She doesn't hide it under perfect table settings or flawless schedules. She lets it spill out, messy and beautiful, painting the sky with her own colors. I pull over and pick up my phone one last time, adding a question to my post. The scariest journey isn't to Alaska, it's to your authentic self. Have you ever had to leave to be seen, or did you find another way? Your story might help someone else find their voice. The comments flow in, each one a small light joining mine. Together, we shine.